I'll never smoke the dizzy, but we can always share some dizzies. It's just a cup in time. This song doesn't have to rhyme. Life's all of us, not every moment we can be feeling fine. I wanna share a moment, just a second if you will, maybe even a cup of thrill. We could share this performance. It's tea time, come sit with me.
Well, welcome guys. Miss Liz is here. Yes, I'm a little late. You know what? These hearing aids, they kind of put me in the back burner, and we were trying to figure this out, but we got to figure it out because Miss Liz never does give up, as everyone knows. Tonight, I have a returning guest, and you know how I love returning guests. I have Thomas Rose in the house, and we're going to be talking about his good old book, Dammit. That's right. And we're going to talk about his other book a little bit, but we're going to talk more about Dammit tonight. But two amazing books that really I enjoyed reading. So we're going to talk about those tonight. But before we get started, we're going to get you over to Miss Liz's platforms on Miss Liz's Tea Times, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of that good stuff. And just give it a quick subscribe and follow, and then share these tea times out, because you just never know whose life you might change or impact by just sharing a tea time. It makes a difference, one cup at a time. So let's get started with disclaimer, and then I'm going to give you a little bit on who's sitting in the back studio, and then we're going to spill some tea tonight. And Tom's tea tonight is Old Short Writer. That's right, we got the Old Short Writer in the house. So that's his tea that he's serving tonight. So we got a little bit of humor going on tonight. So let's get that started. So the disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz's Tea Time is a global platform dedicated to sharing real-life stories, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations that inspire awareness, healing, and connection. Miss Liz, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment during the live broadcast, please grant StreamYard permission to display your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that all the content brought forward during any Tea Time show is presented in good faith. However, discussions may include opinions, beliefs, and perspectives that do not necessarily represent the views or of Miss Liz or the Tea Time platform. Information shared by guests is based on their own experience and is perceived to be accurate at the giving time of airing. All guests, viewers, and participants are responsible for using their own good that may relate to these discussions. Some episodes may cover sensitive topics, including but not limited to trauma, abuse, grief, mental health, and other emotionally triggering subjects. Listeners and viewers' discretion is strongly advised. Tea Time with Miss Liz is an open discussion forum designed to offer insight, inspire awareness, and create connection. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, legal, or therapeutical advice. If you require professional support, please seek assistance from qualified professionals or trusted resources in your area. If you have any questions regarding this disclaimer or the content of these discussions, you are welcome to contact me directly at my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com or visit my link tree at Miss Liz's Tea Time. By choosing to participate in this comment on, or view these live shows, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Your participation is entirely voluntary. Miss Liz, welcomes you to join the conversation with an open heart, and if at any time you feel platform is not right for you, I respect those wishes and decision and welcome you back whenever you are ready. Tea Time with Miss Liz is serving truth and awareness one cup at a time. Now let me give you a little bit on Thomas, and then let's get Thomas in here and let's spill his tea. So tonight on Tea Time with Miss Liz, I am truly honored to welcome back a returning guest to the table, Thomas Rose. Thomas is the passionate host of Senior Talk Michiana and the author of Dammit, a voice that resonates with honesty, humor, and heart. Through his work, Thomas brings light to the often overlooked stories of seniors, sharing wisdom, laughter, and truth that reminds us of the value of every life stage. His voice carries not only experience, but a deep compassion for those who paved the way before us. So with gratitude and anticipation for his insights, let me welcome him in once again to the table. Let me get Thomas in here. Welcome, Thomas.
Who was that guy you just talked about? He sounds fascinating.
Right? We got to meet that man.
I wish I knew him. You know. And by the way, it's not Thomas. You can call me Tom.
Yeah, I call you Tom, but your bio says Thomas.
I,
So
I know, I know. I mean, yeah, you got to go by all these things people advise you. No, you can use it. You can use your Tom when you're doing it, but use your name Thomas. What you're okay, okay. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever they tell me, Liz. Particularly my son. My son's my guiding light here. He takes care of all this stuff for me, so he tells me what to do and what not to do. So
right? We gotta
right,
listen to our kids once in a while, right?
right, right. Yeah. So how are you doing? It's been a long time.
It has been a while. I think the last time I seen you was at the reunion show that we had, the
Yes.
farewell. Everybody's like, Miss Liz, I thought you were leaving. I was like, I did for a while. I was gone for 8 months. I'm back.
Okay, so it's been a year, approximately.
Almost a year. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was trying to
Time-
remember. Time seems to fly by. You know, the older you get, I made an observation the other day. The older you get, the days seem really long, but the weeks and months fly by. I don't understand that. How can
Yeah.
it be so long and the weeks and months be so short? But because here we are already in fall. In fact, if you hear any thunder, there is a thunderstorm going on here right now. Okay, and my lightning is lit off the room back here. So if I look like I've got lightning behind me, the window's over here, and there's a thunderstorm going on. So okay, so don't panic. Okay,
I'm not panicking. See, I turned the lights on.
okay, all right, okay.
So, how have you been, Thomas? And for anybody that's listening for the first time and hasn't heard your first tea time, share a little bit about who you were as a little guy and who you are
Okay, well,
now.
I'll go through it real quickly. My story started actually 6 years ago in August. My wife passed away from breast cancer. And after that, uh, a fraternity brother of mine and my son talked me into writing a book on. I'd never written a book in my life, so this talked me into writing this book, and it was COVID year, 2020. So what the heck? You might as well write a book. You couldn't do anything else, and so I wrote the book, and I've been in the advertising marketing business, so I printed a couple hundred copies and thought, well, I'll give them away, that'll be it. And I made one speaking engagement to a Kiwanis club here in my hometown, and now in fact, next week I'll make my 179th speech with the book. So in that process, I got cocky and thought, well, I'm an author now, so I wrote a novel, and I decided I'm not going to print that myself. If I can't get a publisher, I won't do it. I got a publisher, and he wanted my Balloon in a Box book about grief, and so I let him have it. I did an update. What we did was you just went through and added stuff to the end of the chapters. What I learned, that one right there. Yep, you got it. And so as I'm going along here doing these speaking engagements, I was doing a lot of senior communities and churches with elder groups and stuff, and they asked me to join this organization. Here it's called Aging Connections of Michiana, which is Southern Michigan, Northern Indiana. It's senior organizations. Yeah, then those things have hospice groups, elder lawyers, retirement communities. And they asked me to join, and I said, okay, how much is it? And it was cheap, so I joined. um, and I started going to the meetings, and I'm learning. Wait a minute, I didn't know that, and I didn't know that, and I didn't know that. And I are one of these seniors. I should know that. So again, by happen chance, I'm with my son. He's a chamber director in a small town here close to us, and I was there for having coffee with him. And the minister of this big church walked in and wanted to take my son on a tour of his church. He was going to do some remodeling, wanted to show him some stuff, and he said, "Bring pops along." So I went along, and we're walking through, and he gets to the second floor, and he says, "And this is our podcast studio." And I look at this beautiful studio, 4 microphones, stools, the whole control panel, everything. And I said, "I need to talk to you because I would like to buy some equipment and do this in my basement." And he said, "No, no, 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 no." I said, "What?" He said, "We use this on Tuesdays. It's yours." And I was going to do a podcast on grief. But as I drove home that day thinking about what I might want to do, I thought, no, there's a lot of people out there with podcasts talking about grief, and a lot smarter people than me. But maybe I could help the community. Maybe I could help the senior community by introducing them to all these things. Because this organization has what they call resource fairs and things, which are very, very good. But you get 600 people. There are 260,000 seniors in what we call Michiana area. And I thought, well, maybe a podcast would be a way to reach out to more of them. So Senior Talk Michiana was born, and we've now done 68 podcasts.
Oh wow, look at you go.
The first year, I I funded it out of my pocket. It got to the spring, and I'm thinking, I can't do this anymore. First of all, I can't spend the money it takes to take it to the level it should take it. And so I said, well, they talked me and I said, let's make it a nonprofit. So that's what we did. So we're just starting out in our infancy as a nonprofit. I'm trying to generate funds right now. I applied for some grants, and we're going to do some fundraising things. But we want to take it to the next level. We're reaching, I don't know, we have somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000 listeners a week. Um, and we're reaching out to maybe 12,000. So we're getting 25% maybe. But with 260,000 seniors in Michigan, how do we reach the rest of those? And that's, that's expensive to get the contact, get the information, to reach out to them. You can't just send emails out through your personal email system. They don't allow that. So you have to have a system, and they're expensive. And the more you send out, the more it costs you. So that's what I'm working on now. That's it.
Well, that's what I say, Tom. The iceberg, nobody sees the iceberg, the underneath of that iceberg of podcasting. They think, oh, it's just like camera action. Oh no, there's a lot of promoting, a lot of marketing,
Right.
a lot of time consumed in marketing. And especially if you want to reach the audience, right? If you want to make that impact, you want to make that change. And I listened to a couple of your episodes, and I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm not in the seniors discount yet. I'm getting there. I'm only 51, so
Okay. But what about your parents, though? Do you have parents that are still living?
no, my father passed away, and my
Okay.
mother, well, I don't think she would listen to anything. She's
Reason,
so close-minded, right? It's one way or no way.
yeah.
So
Well, the reason I say that was we get a lot of people who are in their late 40s or early 50s who are listening because of their parents. How do we advise our parents to do this or that, or what should we do? So we're getting. But what we've done is, when it first started out, we were just doing interviews with senior organizations, and then I said, no, we got to make this. I can't interview 3 weeks in a row. I can't have three different retirement communities say basically the same thing.
yeah,
So we've tried to mix it up. We tried to do some special episodes. I don't know ones you would listen to. We just did one on scams, where we got an insurance man and a banker, and they didn't talk about their businesses. They talked about scams. I had one this summer where I had a doctor come along and talk about heat with seniors, what to do and what not to do in the heat when it was about 100 degrees here. Um, and we've done some, like we had some dementia people on, and some Alzheimer's people. And we looked for authors too who have written books about seniors, about maybe caregiving. The last one was the gal about dementia, which was excellent, excellent program. I've learned so much, with these people. So that's where we're going. That's where we're going, and it's my way to give back. Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to be 85 years old in a few weeks, and so I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this, but hopefully, my son. When you do a nonprofit, you have to have a board of directors, and I have a board of directors of 7 people, and my son's on that board, and so he's the heir apparent, and he actually does a podcast, different podcast, but he does a podcast for their community. They talk about their community and people, so he's familiar with doing that. Um, in fact, he could go on, and if he went on and did it, no one would know the difference whether it was him or me. So we sound so much alike. I always remember when my wife was alive, and he and I would call home, and she'd have to ask who it was. If we didn't say, or if we did, she couldn't figure out by what we were saying. She'd say, "Who is this? Is this Tom or is this Brock?" So that's where I am. I'm
Well,
enjoying.
Tom,
I'm just
Tom, you can get away with it with the audio, but with the video, I think they kind of catch on that
Yeah.
it
Well,
should.
we don't have video. We just do audio.
Yeah, audio is a big thing on podcasting. I like the video because I like to see if my guest is enjoying the conversation with me and having, or rolling their eyes, or is this almost done? Are we, where's she
Yeah.
going?
Well,
So
we're going to move towards that, I think. A couple of things. The board of directors I've got is just fantastic. You understand, when you do something like this and you make it a nonprofit, you give it away. I don't
yeah,
own it anymore. I'm just an employee of that board. They can fire me tomorrow if they want. Uh, but they control the monies, and they control things. I mean, I'm able to spend so much, and then if it's above that, then I have to, get with them. They guide me. Um, but I've got such good people on it, that I'm excited about what's going to. Our target now is to get ourselves organized over the next 2 3 months and hit the ground running in 2026. One of the ideas that came up on our board. They said, well, "Why don't you guys go out and do it live every once in a while?" And we said,
Oh,
"Oh, oh, yeah, we could go to a retirement home and sit, they got beautiful theater rooms set up in there, have people come in, and we could interview the activities director there and people and let them enjoy. So I think we're going to do that again. Takes an investment in some equipment because the equipment we have in the studio we can't take out. It's locked in, so we'd have to do something. So another one was see, I'll tell you how brilliant these people are. That was one idea. What the other idea was for one of my well, several of my board members. I don't have to do it all the time, but they were going to have listening parties at retirement communities where they go and say, okay, this Monday, uh, the Senior Talk Michiana is about scams or about this or that. They're going to go in, set up, and they're going to take donuts and coffee and stuff in and say, okay, we're listening to the podcast today. And then afterwards, they're going to take questions from these people and feed them back to us. Now, sometimes I may go, or my co my co-pilot, as I call it. See, the other thing that happened when we got the studio was, I said, okay, you got to teach me to run this, and he said, do you mind if I do that because I really enjoy it? So the pastor at this church is I call him my co-pilot. He runs the board and everything, and he jumps in, and we have a lot of fun. Well, you probably heard that. We always have a joke, and we always have a truism. So, uh, and his introductions to me are always at the end of the introduction. He always has to put something special, like you know, um, uh, marbles champion in 1952 or something like that. So I keep going. I've got so many things that I've done now that he's put in there. So I'm just, people go, did you really do that? No, no, no. He makes that up. So, but we
well,
have fun.
you got to put a little bit of twist in there, right?
We have fun. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
That's what I liked about it when I was listening to the episodes was the humor, right? And just twisting it up because sometimes the listener gets bored, right? If it's just like a mono, like it's just
Yeah.
a conversation going back and forth, right? But when you see that the guests in that are engaging in each other, then you have a good conversation going, then you have some giggles, and then you're just like, oh well, I didn't think they were gonna say that or bring that up, right? So
Well, one of the funny things that I think I said we just done 68 episodes or 69. I know. In every one, there's a mistake someplace that one of us makes. So that's the other thing. We look for who screwed up this week, who
there's
made the
your
mistake,
bloopers.
who made the mistake this week, and sometimes nobody knows we made them, but they're there. So, well, my thing was too is with the names. We get these people with the names, and I get the name pronunciation exactly right before we go. We go live, and I blow it every time.
I'm like that too.
Everybody,
I'm like, how do you say your last name? How do you say your first name? And then I'm just like, oh, I screwed that up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But so we have fun with that, and the pastor Chris always knows when I'm not sure about the name. I'll say, and now introduce yourself, would you? And let the person introduce themselves.
You take the mic. You got
So
the
yeah,
mic.
here you introduce yourself. So but we're looking to do some different things with it now. I think that going on the road would be fun, really fun. To go to
Well, we
places.
talked about that the last time you were on Tea Time about going on the road and talking on the stage and doing that. You know,
Well, I'm still going out and giving my speeches on my book. Um, I've done, like I say, I think it's 179 next week. I got to look and count. So I've been a lot of places, talked to a lot of people, talked to groups of 8 to 500. Um, Somebody asked me about what do you like about groups, and I said the perfect groups to me is about 30 people because I can look in their eyes. I like a room where they're all sitting at tables and I can walk through the room. On the stage in front of 500 people when you can't see them, but anything but light, so you're not even sure they're there unless you
yeah,
say something funny and they laugh because that's part of the thing. My presentation every once in a while, I got to put something in to see if see if they're still out there. But when you got 30 people in a room and like speaking about grief, and you can walk around, you can look in their eyes, and I mean, I could look at somebody and say, "Oh, that lady lost her husband not too long ago. I can see it in her eyes," you know. Um, and I told somebody the other day I've done 178, 179, and every one of them's been different. I change it because I change it to the audience, whether they're all seniors or whether they're all people who've lost spouses. Uh, whether they're all mixed of ages. I change it around. So
yeah.
that's
And
a fun thing.
Tom, this book here, I remember you said that people that purchase this, the the funds go towards breast cancer projects
Pardon?
for the people that purchase the balloon in the box.
Yeah.
There's something about dedicating to Joyce for breast cancer support
Right.
projects.
Yes. 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 The funds for that. We did little breast cancer projects with the hospital, and now in the future, the book sales are going to go to funding the podcast, which we do in her honor and too. So she's still with me. In fact, she's
Yeah.
got my back right now. If you look back there, there's a pillow with a picture on it, and that's her. Somebody gave me that, and I put it. So she always had my back, so she's got my back now. Say,
Yeah, she had your back at the last one too. I remember you talking about that
yeah,
pillow.
yeah, that's she's got my
Yeah.
back all the time. So, but yeah, the balloon thing has been a box has been a lot of fun. I- I'm I'm still going to give the speaking engagements, but probably not as many as I have. I mean, like I say, I was doing 2 or 3 a week there for a time. Now I got the podcast project going and trying to generate the funds with the nonprofit. So our time's not going to be I'm not going to have as much time as I had, and I'm going to need again. That's why I got this great board of directors to give me the help to be there and do things. So um, I've already had a couple of them go out and give little talks on it without me there. So um, to their service clubs and people in church or something like that. So
Yeah.
that's going to be nice to have them carry a little bit of the load. So
So Tom, let's get into the book, damn it. This book
okay.
here. This book has me chuckling. When I'm reading this book, my kids are like, Mom, what are you reading? I'm like, damn it. They're like, Mom. So
uh,
book come about because I love the humor in this book.
I uh, you know it's short stories. So unlike the balloon in the box or unlike the novel, the murder mystery novel, it was much easier to write because I could sit down in one evening and write one short story, maybe two. And I have these ideas as I go to bed or walking around during the day. Say, oh, I know I want to write one on golf, and I want to. I tell my friends that have read the book, if they look real deep, they're in there someplace. Now they may not be the person that they may not be the druggist or they may not be the guy next door, but their personalities. I use them in there. The one story in there, the Walder story, the Waldo, that is a true story. That was my friend. Now maybe stretched it a little bit, okay, but that was him, and he was quite the character. And actually, his name was Pinky. It wasn't Waldo, but in my book, it's Waldo. And so I had a really good time writing that one. That one was probably the easiest to write because all I had to do is remember him and the things that he did and led us into and led us out of, in high school. So basically, it's 4 years of high school with him. Is what the basic story is. So.
So Waldo's at the back of the book, if I remember right.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Well, the ones that stood out to me, you want me to tell you?
Yes, I would love to.
The goof, the old the
Golf.
goof
Yeah.
one stood out
Yeah.
to me.
That's because
Old
that's what we call.
geezer and hearing aids. And hearing aids, we had that issue tonight. We had some issues with hearing aids tonight. So those were the ones that stood out to me. But I just like the jokes. Like I like the humor in those stories.
Yeah. Well, two of the other two that were kind of fun to write. I decided I need to write a love story, right? And I don't know why, but I thought, oh, I got to write one on love. And so I wrote love from his perspective. And when I got done with it, I thought, wonder if I could tell the same story from her perspective.
Oh.
And so that was fun to do. And some people that know me say that was kind of a story about you, wasn't it? And I said, maybe no, yeah, Um, I did have a girl that she knew what she was going to do with her life and her career and all that stuff. And that was back when I was still interested in beer and pizza and parties in college. And she kept saying, you need to, yeah, I'll figure out what I'm going to do. Probably if I'd have figured out what I was going to do, we might have been together. We might have made it, but we separated because I was still, well, having a party and a good time, and she was off on a career. So that's probably, but nah, that's not really true. I mean, the stories in there weren't us, but maybe the feelings were. How's that? The story wasn't, but maybe the feelings were. Okay. So
Well,
that was
you know
those.
what? Some stories are never told. They're told in another way.
Yes, I
That's what I
agree.
got from this book was there
I
were
agree.
stories to be told, but they were just told in a different way.
And then the one that's in there, the cemetery. I live on the cemetery's out behind me here. I
Oh, you
live
have
on
a
it.
cemetery in the
I
backyard
live
too?
on a cemetery. I look out right now. It's raining in the cemetery, and there's a little lightning.
That's what I have. My neighbors are really quiet. They don't talk back.
That's right. And it's dusk here, so I thought you got to write a story on the cemetery. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you got to write a story on the cemetery. So I ended up writing that story, and that's just all in this weird mind and everybody wants to know, hey, what's the end? The end? I said it's for you to figure out. I left it at the end. That's you figure out. I'm not gonna, are you gonna write the story? No, no, no. The story's done. You figure it out at the end. You
Yeah, read
figure out.
it.
You figure out what happened. And
Make
so
your own ending. It doesn't
right, were
always
these
have to be
and
me.
old people again? So were these old people crazy, or did they see and understand what they really understood? So yeah, so it's a mix of things in there, but it was so much fun to do.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
No, it
Um,
was a good book. I think the first one, I was outside having my morning coffee and I was chuckling, and my spouse was like, "What are you laughing about?" And I was like, "Oh, this joke about the bacon." I was
okay,
just like, "Honey, you got to hear this joke." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "No, this joke with the bacon. I like it. I'm a bacon girl." So I was just like,
okay,
"Absolutely."
okay, okay. We uh, um, I would have, I should have what I should have done is not put it out right away. I should have worked on a little more and added more stories to it. But I got excited about it and
No,
said I
I think
wanted.
it's perfect because for people that don't like to read a lot, it's a
Yeah,
simple book.
yeah.
It's easy to
Oh
read.
yeah, you can sit down and read one story while you're having your coffee in the morning, and you don't. Yeah, yeah.
You
Uh,
can read it a dozen times. Like every time I read it, I'm just like, oh, I missed that. I missed that. Oh,
yeah. Well,
okay.
I had a lot of things in there. I think, at least I tried to hide things in there. Um, the story with the guy about moving and everything and all that kind of stuff. Again, all those characters all those people really exist. I just put them in different scenarios and different spots, uh,
Yeah,
and changed their personalities or changed I didn't change their personality. I picked up their personality and changed their whoever they were. In fact, there's one female in there that's really a male, so or vice versa. Excuse me, a male that would have been a female that I knew. So her personality and everything. And the golf story is we called it goof because that's what we call golf because we goof. We don't play golf. We play goof. We can't, we're not good. Uh, and those guys um, all exist, um, but they're all different in the book. But if you'd been around me for the last 25, 30 years, you would know exactly who they are. You would say, I know who that guy is. He didn't know the hardware store, but I know who he is. So uh, at the country club, I imagine there's some people that would read it and say, "Hey, Tom used so and so. I think that's who that guy is," because he would say certain things. So that's the other fun thing to do is find things that people say and the little jokes and the mannerisms they have to put into it. So I'm working on a couple other things, but nah, I've got so busy that I wanted to do a follow up on Balloon in a Box.
yeah. You were talking about doing a second book on Balloon in a
Yeah,
Box.
and I've got it. I've got tons of notes and stuff. I'm just not comfortable with the way where it's going. I mean, I'm comfortable with where it's going. I'm just not comfortable with some things um, because I've learned so much in the last 6 years. Uh, uh, I've told people I wasn't a bad guy before, but I'm so much better now. And the reason I'm so much better is I could walk by somebody that was in pain and not see it. Now I
Yeah,
walk by and I see it. I see it. I see the pain. So, but the other thing is this thing about life and living and what is life and love and all those things. Maybe I told you this, but I was standing in the theater here in my hometown, ready to go out on stage and give a talk on my book. And I'm looking around this theater, and they just redone it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if I spent $2-3 million, but they took it back, you know. So anyway, I'm standing backstage, and I'm looking around, and I'm going, "Oh my God, this is the theater where I brought my first date."
Oh,
You know, the one your mom drives you, and you go, and then afterwards you go to the drugstore and have a Coke, and you go to payphone. I mean, payphone. No, we didn't have cell phones, so payphone, and call mom and say, "Come pick us up." And a week before that, I like to have dinner parties. I'd had a dinner party and a few glasses of wine and everything. We got to talking about what is life. Well, a couple of bottles of wine in 2 hours, you got nowhere. But the conversation was great for 2 hours, but it didn't earn me anything. But I'm standing there and I'm going, you know what? I know what life is. Life is really simple. Life is moments in time and experiences that become memories. That's what life is. Now, living life, that's a little different. And you try living life and then you throw love in there, and that really screws everything up, okay? So that's kind of where I'm going with the book. I just can't get it to mesh together. I can't get it to be chapters and thought. I start talking about love, and then I wrote about it, and then I'm going, well, where does this fit? And, I can't fit it here. Somebody told me that one time that you in your lifetime, and you can think about this, you have 3 to 5, probably 3 really true love experiences, and maybe as high as 5, but maybe probably 3. So when they told me that, then I said, oh, wonder what mine were. So I started thinking back on mine, and I wrote a couple pages about each one and saying, this is what I learned from that person. That's the other thing that I guess some people we don't realize, that those experiences we have like that, we learn from those people. We learn something that maybe it's 50 years later, all of a sudden is coming back to you, and you're saying, oh, you know why I did that, or why I said that? That's because of her, or
yeah.
him, if I was, a friend. That you learn something from all these people, and sometimes you just don't know that you're learning. Okay, so that's kind of where I am with that. I'll get it organized. Maybe this winter, when it gets cold and snowy here, and I want everything else to do, why maybe I'll sit here and plunk it out. So there's nothing on
Like,
TV anymore. So
you know what the problem is,
no,
right, Tom? You're using the hammer to screw in. You keep
I'm
hitting
using.
it instead of screwing it.
Oh, okay, okay, all right.
When you got a nail and you use a screwdriver, it doesn't work. Well,
That's
you're
right.
using the hammer on the screwdriver.
That's right.
You're not, and that's why it's not coming together, because
That's
you're
right.
you're
Okay,
you're
I
hitting
got
it
that.
too hard. Let it go. Just let it flow.
Yeah, the other thing I learned, particularly in writing this Dammit book, was I started to discipline myself to say, you're going to work for 45, maybe 60 minutes. That's it. No matter where you are, you stop. Go get yourself a glass of wine or a bottle of water or a cookie or whatever. It was nice. Walk out on your deck, walk around, spend 15 minutes doing something, then come back and read what you've written, and then go on. And it's made it easy to finish it. It made
Yeah.
it easy. Every one of the stories, it was easy then to wrap them up and make the changes. I made the changes, bang, bang, bang. I probably wouldn't have done that if I'd have stayed for an hour, hour and a half, and then I'd have gotten bored with it or unhappy with it or whatever, and shoved it aside. In fact, there are 4 stories in this computer, or 5, that I wrote that I didn't put in here, that I just they're okay, but they weren't they weren't damn it stories.
Yeah.
I wanted to have every story begin with the word damn it and end with the word damn it.
That's
So
what I loved about it. As soon as you opened it, it was damn it. Oh, this is good. Like, that grabs me. I just like the cover. And I actually had 2 little boys and their mom make me a damn it doll, but it's more of a smashing doll for Miss Liz when she gets frustrated. So
okay,
it's
well look,
small.
there's a thing in the back that explains where those dolls came from. I know where you saw it back there, but that's an actual product that they sell online.
Yep, it's right in the back of the book.
Yep, yep. You can buy a damn it doll. I have a couple of them over here. I slam
You just
against
have those days where
I
everything is just
slam
damn it.
against the wall or something. So yeah. So I'm just looking forward to. I'm so excited about the podcast and going out and meeting people and having all these people in my studio. Tomorrow I do two every other week, so I've got him in can, so to speak. So I got two that I do tomorrow. In fact, it's going to be a fun day tomorrow. Uh, I'm doing one of them is going to be my son, and because there's Senior Life Michiana is sponsoring a senior resource fair in his community, actually through his Chamber of Commerce. And so I'm having him tomorrow on, and I'm going to interview him about that senior resource fair. So I'm sure between he and I and Chris, who Chris and he do another podcast together, it might not turn into what we're supposed to turn into, but whoever knows, you know. I'll share this with you because he already did this to me. I I have a car that's real quiet, okay? And I actually had a lady to take out for dinner. She just lost her husband a couple months ago, and she's having a tough time. And there was this bunch of people going out to dinner. So I said, "Hey, you need to go out." So I invited her to go. And we drive. It's 15 miles to where we're going, and it's a nice summer day. And I got the sunroof open, and it's my son's community, real small community, real thing. So we get down there, and I had turned the radio off because I always had the radio on, and that would remind me when I took my phone, unplugged my phone from it, you've got to turn the car off. Well, we were talking about something, and we pulled up, and I put it in park, and we talked, and I didn't turn the car off. We got out, we went in the restaurant. I left my car sitting out there running, and who had to find it? Not me, my son. My son was at dinner. He walked out, and I was parked close to him. He walked by the car. He think this is running. But yep, came in. He said, "Dad, did you leave that running?" And he said, "Besides that, you left the sunroof open." I said, "I know I left the sunroof open. It's a nice night. Nobody's going to steal anything. It's right in front of the restaurant there. Nobody's going to steal it." He said, "Yeah, but you left it running." I said, "Oh, So he has to tell everybody in the restaurant. He just didn't go at the door and say, "Hey, Dad, come here a minute." Everybody had to. So anyway, I blame it on this gal I had with me. That it was her fault because we were talking. I wouldn't have done that if she hadn't have been in the car. I'd have turned it off. So that was that. He gives me 3 strikes a week before I go to home. You know, and that was one, and that was a big one. He said that almost counted for 2. So I've been really good. I haven't done I haven't screwed anything up for the last 2 weeks since that, because I don't want him coming down here and saying, "Okay, it's time to go to home," So.
So you got the 3-strike warning from your son.
I got that. Yes. But he treats me great. So, it's I only have one son and I have one granddaughter, and so it's a small family. It used to be. I commented this last year at Thanksgiving. It used to be. We used to have 17, 18 people, and now we're down to 5. So families are getting smaller and smaller. So I'm the next one, I guess. So at 85, I'm going to shoot. My mom lived to be 98, so I told my son I'm going for the record. So he'll have to. I'm going for 99, so then he'll have to shoot for 100. So
right, got to push the limit.
That's right.
So Tom, we got a couple of questions that came in for you that I want to get out there.
Oh, okay.
So it said, how did the years in advertising and marketing shape your creativity as a writer? I'm not saying that word right, am I?
Yeah, creativity.
Your creativity. My tongue doesn't twist that way.
Probably a lot because when we were in advertising marketing, we used to have a meeting. We had to come up with ideas to promote a product, and we'd get in the room. And one of the things I would always say to everyone was, "Hey, I don't care how bad the idea is, spit it out, say it, because your bad idea may lead to a good idea across the table." And so we learned to work that way. So I think probably the same thing in the writing. I'm not afraid to write it down. I may not use it, but I'm not afraid to write it down. I think I told you before in writing Balloon in a Box, the first one, when they talked me into doing it. And again, everything happens in my house. It's raining or sleeting or snowing or something out there. But I remember starting the book, and it was in February. It was a cold winter night, and the snow was blowing, and I had dinner, and I had my little glass of wine here, and I sat down, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to write a book." And so I started, and I write a page, and I go and correct it, change the sentences, and correct the spelling, and then I thought, well, you're an author, you're supposed to use big words. So I went to thesaurus and changed a whole bunch of words, and got up the next morning, and there's the page in the computer, and I read it, and I thought, who wrote this, and what does that mean? You know,
You're
uh,
like me. And when it's too big, I'm just like, what? Can you
yeah,
not
yeah,
just
that's right, yeah,
like,
yeah,
like say, keep it simple. Like,
yeah. So what I did, I did that a couple nights, and finally one night I thought, no, you idiot. Go back to when you were advertising and marketing question. They're the person, get it all out. So that's what I did. I just started typing. I didn't worry about sentences, spelling, whatever. I I I probably had 50 pages,
oh,
something
wow.
25 to 50 pages. I worked till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I got going. And so that was, was able to use that and create the book. That everything that I did that first night made the book. I mean, I put stuff in front of it, in the middle of it, changed stuff, but that was the basis of the book. What I wrote that first night. And that all came from the heart, came from what I
Well,
was
that's what they
feeling.
say, right? When you're writing the rough draft, don't worry about it. Just write.
That's right. That's
And
right.
then
Just
it's gonna
write it.
come all together. But if you worry about the sentence structure and everything, it lied you. It takes you right
Well,
off
yeah.
course. You're just like, what the heck am I writing here?
Well, and then you lose your train of thought too when you're trying
Yeah.
to fix that. You say, "No, what was I? Oh, God, I forgot. I had something really clever and I lost it." So that was the thing. And let's say way with the Dammit book, but again, the Dammit book being short stories was a lot easier. I could do a whole short story in one night, and read it the next morning. So, yeah. So you had another question?
Well, that leads right into that one question is what inspired you to write the book, damn it?
My weird mind, I guess. Uh, uh,
That's that old short writer that comes in his tea.
yeah, uh, probably. Probably honestly. Uh, I was I was starting and I thought maybe I was gonna do a novel, okay? A funny novel. That I was gonna throw all these funny characters in it. And I think I wrote the goof one. Well, maybe not. One of the two. Well, golf or the hearing aids one. Um, the old geezer. Um, I think I probably wrote the old geezer one first. And then when I got it. I've only got 4 pages, but and the story's done. I went from this to the end. So I thought, well, wait a minute. Okay. Don't try to make this 80 pages.
Yep.
It's 4, 5, 6 pages and it's good. Leave it. Why not write it? So I think that's probably how I got into making short stories. I didn't start out probably to write short stories. I probably started out to write a funny book. Okay. And it
Yeah.
ended up,
I
it,
like the short stories because when you're tired and you just want to read something really quick before
uh,
going to sleep, read a short story and you get some chuckles and then you go to bed and you're giggling and like you're dreaming
uh,
and laughing and like
uh,
I just love the humor, the layout of that book. It's so easy to read and it's a nice flow. Like early in the morning, middle of the afternoon, late at night. Like I mean, it's a good book to read at any time.
yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, it kind of goes into like you said humor for damn it, why it got and you gave me old short writer for your tea, and I was just like old short writer. Oh, so is Tom telling me he's a short man?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. There's a story there too. I always ended up with tall blind dates. So,
Oh,
you
you want, you want to go
know,
down there?
oh yeah, I'll give you the one. Uh, I was in college and it was the big fraternity sorority dance in the spring, and this gal, which is kind of the story, the love story in the book, we'd broken up, and so everybody said you need. Well, we had I was I guess social committee chairman for the fraternity. We had a party before thing. And they said, "Well, who's your date?" I said, "Well, I don't have one." And my fraternity brother says, "Well, my date has a gal. She'd love to go." And I said, "Oh, no, no, no." I said, "Yeah, I know she she's got a great personality and she makes her own clothes." And I said, "No, no, no. She's a really nice gal." So I remember going. And you know what the dorms are like on a Saturday night in the college. I got the one little girl behind the desk doing her homework. So I walk in and I ask for this gal, I go over and I sit down and I look up and I see the steps and I see these legs and then I see more legs and then I see a little more legs and then I see more legs. She steps out and she's 5'11" without any heels on, okay? And I'm a full I was then a full 5'6", okay? And now
Oh,
I'm about
you got a couple inches on me.
not, got 5'5.5" now or 5'5". As you get older, you shrink. Anyway, we just looked at each other and I said, "We've been had," and she said, "Yes, we have." I said, "You don't have to go if you don't want to." She said, "Oh no, we're going. Just wait a minute." She said, runs back upstairs and puts flats on, so at least she's not, you know, 9 inches taller than me. Now she's only 5. So anyhow, we go to the dance and everybody is there. The whole university of fraternities and sororities are waiting for Tom Rose to walk in with his date. You know, but actually, we had a lot of fun. We had a couple dates after that, but then spring came, summer came, and she didn't. She went someplace else the next year. But yeah, so but that's just one of them. I got every one of them. It was going to be a
That's another book coming. All the
yeah. It's
short.
going to be a pretty well given that somebody fixed me up with a blind date. She was going to be taller than I am. So I
Well,
was,
I love that tea. That tea is awesome. Old short writer. I like it.
and I am old and short.
Right? And you
I
do a
don't
lot
know.
of writing and you
I
bring a
don't
lot
know
of good
whether
humor.
I guess I
So
deserve the writer title because I write, but am I a good writer? I don't know, but I don't care. I'm having fun. So,
that's right. Right? We have to have the fun in the writing.
that's right.
So we got a couple lightning bolt questions that came in for you. And one is one word to describe your journey so far.
Incredible.
Oh, why, Tom?
Why? Why is it incredible?
Yeah.
Uh, because 7 years ago, I would have never thought that I would be where I am today, doing what I am today. Uh, if I go back then, I could have thought of some things I might be doing, but none of this. Not a podcast, not writing books, not being with Miss Liz on tea time, not doing any of this kind of stuff. Uh, Playing golf. I love golf. I've only played 9 holes this whole year, which is crazy because 7 years ago I was playing 5 times a week.
Mhm.
So from that standpoint, my life's changed. The other thing, I I wasn't sure that I could survive without her with me. Um, and I'm going to say this, but you never say never, okay? But people want to know, would you ever, get married again? I said, I don't think so. I don't want to say never because somebody may walk through this door right now and boom, boom, it's there. I do enjoy going out with ladies for dinner, like I just told you. My friend, she lost her husband, and we've been out a couple of times. It's for her. Well, it's for both. I enjoy being with her. She's nice, but it's for her to get out too because she was having a tough time maybe.
Yeah.
So do those things. I got the other thing. The other thing is, and the incredible to me is how my friends have changed. Now, I don't mean I still don't have old friends, but I've got a lot of new friends that have come because of my experience with the books and those things. I've got Liz, my friend, and
Right?
I wouldn't have had,
We would have
if I
never
hadn't
met had you not written that book.
had not
Like,
written the book, and if I hadn't filled out that form online that said, "Hey, I might like to be on your podcast," and you said, "Man, maybe I'd like to have this short old man on," so
bring
yeah,
a
that's
little
what.
bit of Dammit to my life, right?
But it is incredible. The last 6 years of my life have been incredible.
Yeah. Well, and it's been a pleasure knowing you too, Tom. Like we really had a good friendship along the way. It wasn't just an interview; it was a friendship that we built
Yes,
along the way as well.
yes, yes, yes,
So
yes, yes.
yeah. So the next lightning bolt question that came in is favorite memory of your cooking show days.
Oh, okay. I'll give you a bad one.
We
uh,
burnt the kitchen.
the we all we had was this rolling counter thing. Okay, that was bar type height, and we had a tablecloth thing on it, and just a shelf underneath. and we had these little cookers on top. Or if we, for example, if we did something that was had to come out of the oven, where we prepped it on top and then we put it down the magic oven and got one out, which we cooked at home and brought. Uh, the host was standing there and my wife standing there. And just before we go live, we're chatting back and forth. And just before go live, I have this knife laying on the counter and it's got stuff on it. And so I grabbed the knife and the towel and I pulled it through my hand to wipe it off while I had the cutting edge in my thing. Now I'm right handed and I did it to my right hand. Okay. So I grab the towel and I wrap it. They don't see this. I'm wrap it up. And then when I'm doing stuff, I'm doing everything left handed. My wife keeps looking at me, and the host of the show keeps looking. Tom's not left-handed; he's right-handed. What's he doing? We get done, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm bleeding to death down here, guys. That's why."
I can't get it on the food.
What do you want me to do? Put this bloody stump up in here and say, "Okay, folks, we're gonna, this is how we cook." So yeah. Oh, we had a lot of those kind of things happen, but most of them were all fun. We I think one time a dish broke, and it is what it is. Again, it was live, so we couldn't cover it up. So, but
Well,
we
that's what I
did
like about the and the live shows, right? You can't cover it up. It is what it is.
we did 1990 to 2003 every Wednesday morning, 7:45 or 7:20 to 8 o'clock, and we never missed a show.
Wow.
If we've gone on vacation, we record one. Most of them were live. A couple of times we sent back a recording from wherever we were on vacation. Like we sent one back from the Abaco Islands, where a friend took his video camera, and we managed to do a show from there. So send back the tape. So yeah, but that was quite the experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess our listener knew about your cooking show. So, and you can check that out. You also had the book, The Secret in the Pasta.
Yeah. Well, The Secret in the Pasta is a novel. It's a murder mystery that takes place in an Italian restaurant. So again, I think everybody's probably got one in their brain someplace that they want to write,
Yeah.
and that was stuck up there, and I wrote it. If you ever, well, you've written books. You people out there, if you want to write a book, let me tell you a couple things I learned. Number one, the story from beginning to end is easy. You know what's going to happen, and you know how you want to end it. The problem is the characters and the scenes and everything in the middle. Where do you get these characters from? I mean, and there's a Catholic priest in this one who's not a Catholic priest, but his personality is a friend of mine. Okay, uh, there's a guy in there who's a Catholic priest friend of mine, but he's not a priest in my book. Um, and the story in this book is probably me, only not me. It was easy to. I knew the murder mystery. Okay, I knew what was going to happen, but then you got to give these people personalities, and you got to have a couple, two or three stories going. You just can't have the murder mystery going. You got to have this little side things going. So what I did was, I lost my wife to breast cancer, so I was grieving. I'm still on the grief journey. Actually, I call it a love journey, but so I would do it. So in the book, this guy's 30 years old or 31, in his early 30s. Uh, and he's a police officer. In the book, he lost his wife to a drunken driver, and that guy was sent to prison, and his time is coming up for parole. And this guy fights back and forth with himself. When can I go and actually forgive him? He killed my wife. He killed my wife at a young age. We were just happy. Everything was just happening, and so I was able to use my emotions for him with that. Okay, I'm thinking the same thing. If somebody had killed my wife, would I be able to forgive them? I mean, I was tough enough when she got taken away by breast cancer. If someone had actually taken her, would I be able to forgive that person? So that was easy to, not easy, but that was an emotion. I was able to put those emotions in. Then, towards the end of the book, he starts to have a feelings for another woman, who's a friend and everything, and then he's fighting that. You know, can I? No, I can't do this. Well, do. So And there's all kinds of other little side things that go in there. But what I'm telling you is those little characters, you got to go out and find them. You got to find the restaurant and the couple that owned the restaurant. And the murder took place in the restaurant. And it was his brother, and and he's got two daughters, and it just keeps growing and growing. And it's all about drug trafficking and stuff in a small community. And uh, so that's how it did. That's how I did it.
What I liked about all of your books, Tom, is you took us on a journey in each one, right? You
Right.
took us on Dammit with some humor and giggles and and some really life thinking, like simple stories that you wake up to and you're just like, what the heck is this? Damn it,
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and then and then with Balloon in a Box, it was really like a love story. It was really
Right.
beautiful, and you took us on a different journey. And then with the secret in the pasta, like you took us on another journey. Like you took us down different rabbit holes, but they were good rabbit holes to enjoy.
Yeah, that's what. Quite honestly, that may be my struggle with Balloon in the Box and trying to write another book like that. Already been down that rabbit hole. Do I want to go down there again? Because that's what it is. It's just an expansion of that book. It's just what I've learned and what's happened to me in the last 6 years or 7 years. The book is what happened to me in the first 2 years, and now it's four more years and a lot more experiences than do. That's one of the things that happens. Somebody asked me when I go out and give one of these talks, doesn't it bother you to? I said, yeah. I said, I'd probably be further along in my love journey if I didn't repeat my story to people. Quite honestly, when I get done, sometimes I have to go out to the car and sit for a few minutes and just take a couple of deep breaths and because I'm sharing those. It's still,
Yeah.
I told somebody one time that that you familiar with Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra had a song called "Rain in Your Heart,"
Oh,
"Rain in My Heart." Excuse me, and that's what I hear. It's like a beautiful summer day with white puffy clouds, and you're going along and everything's just fine. And all of a sudden, the cloud comes over and starts dumping rain on you. That's the memory that comes back. And I hear the rain in my heart every once in a while, and it surprises me. And that may happen when I'm doing a speaking engagement. Come out, and I feel the rain in my heart. All those things are coming back. So, but
yeah.
that's it. It is what it is, as my wife used to say. Put on your big boy pants and deal with it. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, sometimes we get by sharing our stories over and over again. It kind of keeps us in that hole, right?
Yeah, right. That's why I try to change it when I'm doing it and share different stories. Some stories that come back. My wife was a zinger. She zinged me all the time, so I share those stories and get a few chuckles. Uh, but yeah, I still laugh sometimes. I do it. I set myself up. It was a great one to set myself up for a zing.
Yeah.
I would just set myself up, and she'd just nail me. So, but yeah, it's been an exciting life for the little short old man. Bald too. I didn't even put that in. Should have put bald when you asked that too.
Well, I only asked for 3 words. That's why you gave me three.
That's right. I guess that was it. You said 3 words. Yeah. So
Well, Tom, before we wrap up, I want to get it out there. October 11th, you have a senior fair coming up.
yeah, at Wakarusa, Indiana. So any of you people in Indiana, come. It's from 10 to 2. I'll be there. I'll autograph you if you want to come. I don't have pictures, but I'll autograph you. But no, come in. It's a good thing. You can learn about a lot of. There's going to be like 20 senior organizations there. We have senior lawyers. We'll have um, hospice groups, retirement communities. Goshen Health here in my hometown is this major sponsor for it, so they'll be there with their. I have some entertainment at I think it's 12:30. Guy called his name is can't remember his name. I do remember his theme. His theme is songs you can never forget, and he's great. Fred Walker, and songs you can never forget. He'll be there, and we have lunch, free lunch. So we have a little crudité boxes, so you come and enjoy it. And Walker's a nice little fun town. You can go to the dime store and get jelly beans. This place is famous in the whole Michiana area for their jelly beans. They're just, they sell tons of jelly beans in the holidays and everything. So you can go there and get some jelly beans. So it's just be a fun day, and come by
So
and see
Tom,
me on. We'll
so
talk
Tom,
about.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Uh, So, Tom, where can people find your book and how can they reach out to you and all that good stuff? I
Yes.
have the link here, but for the audio listeners, could you just
Yeah, let's go
read it
to my website. It's www.thomaslrose.com, and everything's there. You can buy the books there. You can check out the podcast. You can, you just learn about me, and you'll go, "How did this guy ever write a book?" And yeah, but yeah, it's all there. And there's some. I share some things there. I do some blogs. I'm behind on my blog, so I need to write a few, but. My son will be on me here pretty quick saying we need blogs. You got to get them on there. If you're gonna do this, you got to keep it going. So, and there is a Facebook page which is Thomas L. Rose, and there's also a Facebook page for Senior Talk Christiana. So all
awesome.
those places. But the best thing to do, just go to the website www.thomaslrose.com. You got it up there, just perfect. That's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tom. I'm just going to do a closing summary and then we're going to wrap it up and we can have some chuckles in the back.
Okay.
So thank you, Thomas Rose, for returning to Tea Time and for sharing your wisdom, warmth, and dedication to honoring the voices of seniors. Your work is a reminder that every story matters and that connection across generations is a gift we should treasure. To my listeners, may Thomas' words inspire you to listen more deeply, laugh more often, and hold close to the elders in your life. Their stories carry the lessons of resilience, love, and humanity. This has been Tea Time with Miss Liz, where conversations turn into connections and every voice has a place at the table. I'll see everybody, same time, same place, Tuesday, Thursday, and we'll do it all over again.